Sword Art Online was released in 2012 and took the world by storm, for better or worse, and in its wake came dozens of anime that made use of some kind of game system and were oftentimes isekai. Despite how many of these anime have released with RPG systems and game mechanics, they've always skimped out on the actual game mechanics and just used it as a plot device to make the main character become stupidly overpowered. It never feels like there's a lot of thought put into them, like these never feel like actual games, and it's a pet peeve I've had for ages. But then in came Shangri-La Frontier this season and completely changed the game. See what I did there? It's crazy how we get so used to repetition that all it takes is for something new to just change the bare minimum of what to expect ever so slightly for it to feel like a completely new experience. And that is exactly what Shangri-La Frontier does. This is a criminally underrated anime this season with so few buzz around it online, and I can sort of understand that. With such a deceptively simple synopsis, it doesn't really get you to check the anime out, and that's a shame. The series offers such a refreshing take on the whole RPG system incorporated into a fantasy world anime trope that we've all come to dread. And how does it do that? By barely changing anything. In a world where VR has become the premier gaming system, our main character, Rakuro, has made it a hobby to play the many shovelware games that get released on the platform, dubbed Kuso Games. He does this as if to challenge himself, searching for the worst of the worst and beating them all. A behavior that would have been seen as weird a few decades ago, but now it's considered its own form of entertainment right here on YouTube. It's not like he plays these games on stream or anything like that. He plays them solely for himself, and I vibe with that. After playing countless Kuso games, he finally decides to give an actual good game a try, and he's introduced to Shangri-La Frontier, a game acclaimed to be a god tier game. So he does give it a try and is instantly hooked from how well polished it is. No input lags, no frame rate drops, and no buggy cutscenes. It's the best gaming experience he's ever had. So the moment he's in game, he immediately skips out on the opening cutscene, skips the tutorial, and just heads out to do his own thing and figure out what his character build is going to be like. He doesn't really care about the lore or whatever plot the game has, he lives for the gameplay and the gameplay alone. He doesn't waste time grinding and farming equipment, exploring the mobs the starting area has to offer, and min-maxing his build. The fact that this anime focuses on those very specific type of players brings me joy. Our main character, who goes by the player name Sonraku, initially gets into the game with the only goal of building his character and seeing what the game has to offer, but as the anime goes on, a goal slowly starts to form, but I'll let you find out for yourself. What makes Shangri-La Frontier so fun is how it takes its time to present you the game itself. We learn about the game mechanics at the same pace Sonraku does, which kind of makes you feel like you're playing the game too. We watch a monologue about in-game events, quests, and the direction his build is going, while feeling excited to see just how far he'll go before his build becomes broken. Because for this particular type of gamers, there is nothing as satisfying as min-maxing everything. And it isn't just the game itself he focuses on. When he discovers something new, he checks out the game's forums and discussions around to see if he can learn anything more to give him an edge. Thanks to the fact that the game has only been around for a year, there are a lot of things unknown to the player base, which is why when Sonraku comes across a never before seen event, he can't help but keep the information to himself because he wants to be the very first to clear that event or questline. Yeah, that's selfish, but if you've played online games long enough, you know this is very in character for some gamers. Sure, there are some of those that do get to share the info online, but it's only after they've had their own fun with it. So in a way, he is a true gamer. I really love the direction the anime takes the RPG system genre in. For starters, our main character Sonraku doesn't care about the in-game plot and lore. He's not interested in uncovering the world building or has any real interest in exploring it unless it has something to do with farming or taking out a field boss. And because of this, the anime itself carries the same energy, never really bothering to show us, the audience, what deep lore the world has to offer, and it doesn't set things up in a way that would have you curious about the in-game lore. It doesn't take the world too seriously, and I'm thankful for that. It's more focused on the players and their player behaviors, selling you a sort of player-driven narrative. There's this one scene that really makes this clear. Sonraku had just had his photo unknowingly taken and uploaded to the forums by another player trying to inquire about him in particular. What starts out as people discussing and trying to find answers turns into something else as the post gains traction, with a group calling out the OP for posting a photo of him without his consent and basically doxing him for all the other players to find and hunt him down. The whole conversation surrounding it feels very Reddit. Hell, there's even a whole read the mega thread before posting questions post snuck in there, which got a chuckle out of me. You can tell that this series was written by someone who actually plays games and understands internet gamer culture. The other thing that makes Shangri-La Frontier so much fun is the fact that Sonraku himself isn't stupidly overpowered right from the start. You'd think that the fact he played nothing but Kuso games with their laggy inputs and wacky hitboxes would give him something like heightened senses, but that's far from the case. He marvels at how much more polished the game is, but it never really gives him an edge in battle. He doesn't unlock any kind of special skill or secret stat that gives him crazy powers right from level 1. Nope, he hops into the game and immediately starts grinding and farming in the starting area for hours just to get slightly over leveled with better equipment. And even then, when he faces the first boss, he struggles because he's up against an enemy that is normally supposed to be taken on by a party of 4. He's able to just barely make it through, but that doesn't make him overpowered. This is very in nature for most gamers. They're an unpredictable bunch, always trying to beat games in any way from the intended way. Like we have this spiffing Brit over here beating Skyrim with a fork, so watching him pull this off isn't far-fetched. Yeah, Sonraku does have slightly extra plot armor than the average player, but that's to be expected since he's the main character after all, and this is his underdog story. I don't know if this series will turn into a power fantasy when he reaches the endgame, but as it is now, I'm having way too much fun with it. If I was to have a problem with it, it would be the fact that the game he plays, which has been out for a year in their world, hasn't already been data mined to hell, because as we know, keeping secrets in a game's code never works. Just look at all the data miners and leakers out there on Twitter. So if you're a gamer looking for an anime that sees you, this is it. And if you're just a casual anime enjoyer, this is also the anime for you because it offers simple fun and amazing animation. So if I've convinced you to give the anime a go, that means you owe me a like and subscribe. As always, this has been your very favorite slice of bread. Stay toasty.